Hello guys, it's me Sarah here, and I thought I might take this opportunity to tell you guys about these wonderful products I discovered this last year, okay? So here they are, and they're from Drop Dead Gorgeous, some makeup and website I know of that's in Australia, and they do lots of interesting stuff here. There's some lip gloss, there's face powder, there's perfume, and some foundation obviously, and they come up with some really good stuff here. As you can see, I'm wearing the black lipstick, and it has a permanent feel to it that will last for the whole day. And you also have this ghostly foundation and ghost face powder that it will make your face look quite like you haven't, give off you a ghostly appearance, or as Wednesday would say,
guaranteed to make you look like you haven't slept in years.
Something like that, krill like that. And over here they have some really good perfumes here, this one's my favorite. It's called Butter Scream Frosting. A very good flavor that or fragrance that will give you the impression that you smell like a cake or an icing biscuit. So I highly recommend this one the most. I also have a one in body butter that smells great, especially if you're during bath time. Anyway, be sure to check out all these products. I'll be sure to put a link at the bottom so you can actually check them out, obviously, and let me know what you guys think of these products, obviously. Alright, let's get down to the nitty gritty of our video. So hey guys, so today we are going to review a comedy horror movie called Lisa Frankenstein that was released not too long ago. That is a good movie that if you are into the whole 80s comedy horror movies, stuff like that. It's really gory and funny and hilarious, and I like the depiction of it, obviously. Anyway, it's a good movie and I really enjoy it. I love the feel of the 80s and the music and the old-fashioned, glam, goth looks from those periods. I really enjoyed that period of the energy in that day. So anyway, I'll get into the movie, obviously. So it begins with a man in the 1800s who's a pianist, and has no family and no friends to speak of. And then one day he falls in love with a beautiful woman, and they have this nice romantic relationship. But then one day she dumps him for a guitarist, or a guitar person anyway. And one day when he's strolling through the park, he gets hit by lightning and dies. Then he gets buried in a Bachelor Grove cemetery, and he soon is forgotten, and so is the cemetery. Then we cross over to the present, where we see Lisa, a nice girl who is always hanging at the graveyard and is a loner and just looking for love in the wrong place, obviously. So another thing about her is that she's the sole survivor of a slasher killer, obviously. Where her mother died and was murdered, and she was a sole survivor. And then months later, her father remarries and moves on, and she's forced to leave her hometown to live with her new stepmother and her stepsister Taff, who is the polar opposite to Lisa, where she's a loner and feeling isolated and has no friends, while Taff is the cheerleader type who wants to be loved by all, obviously. Then one night, as they're preparing to go to a party at someone's house, she tries out her sister's tanning bed. That turns out it's broken, and it gives electrocutes Lisa. And as Taff and her are heading to the party, Taff is going on and on about what kind of boys Lisa's into, and Lisa goes on about this guy named Michael, who's a guy who's the editor for the school newspaper or something, or zine, and she has a crush on him seriously, and she wants to go out with him. Of course, Taff doesn't see why she's so interested in him, obviously, and I also asked her about why she keeps hanging at this creepy cemetery, obviously. She tells her about how she goes there because it's peaceful, and she has a favorite headstone that has the face of the man we saw at the beginning, obviously. And then we cross over to the party, and there Taff is telling her friends about her stepsister's past and stuff like that. And then while this is happening, Lisa meets with her crush, and they're talking, and then one of the girls, who's a gothic girl, approaches them and gives Lisa a drink that has drugs in it, and that causes her to go on a serious trip where everything is starting to look weird, including we do see above the green storm approaching and creating emotions. While this is happening, Lisa goes into a room with a boy from a lab from high school who starts touching her inappropriately. I won't go into details. And she then leaves, and she heads to the cemetery where she pledges to the headstone and says, "I wish I was with you." Then she heads back home, we think, and there she breaks the mirror on her in the bathroom in her anger. And then she starts in this dream sequence where it's in black and white. She mentioned earlier in the movie that she was into silent movies, and this comes off as a silent movie look. She has this hairstyle that looks like something out of Frankenstein, and she's sitting next to the statue's head, and they're watching the silent movie, obviously. And then should we cross over to the next morning, where we see she's getting over a horrible hangover, and her sister Taff approaches her, tells her that her mum wants her downstairs, which she does. And here her mother gives her a serious talk down. She's like the seriously evil stepmother in this movie, and dear old Lisa's dad refuses to back her side and not take her side, of course, and tells her that that she'll have to pay for the mirror and fix and clean up the mess, obviously. So she goes to work, which she works as a seamstress, and there she meets her crush, who wants to mend his jacket, and we also meet the gothic girl, obviously. There she gets, after work, she heads home, where the family plans on going to a movie, I think it's Look Who's Not Talking, I think was. And there she's left alone watching Day of the Dead, I think one of those ones. And she hears noise, and it turns out to be the dead man from the Bachelor's Grove cemetery, and he starts chasing her, and soon enough she finds out he's homeless, and he asks her to help him, obviously, and there we find out that he's in need of a new ear and a new hand and some other parts, obviously. And she takes him to the bathroom, gets him cleaned up, and gets him some clothes, and soon enough she freshens him up. soon enough, she heads to. She tells her parents that they had a break-in, and of course, it tells them about how it was a striped a man with a striped sweater and a hat, and wearing this black mask. And of course, the mother and sister both say it must be the hamburger because he looks like that's what he looks like. And anyway, the mother just assumes that she's doing all this to her attention, trying to recreate the scene of her late mother's death, obviously, and thinks that Lisa needs serious psychiatrical help. But Taff and her father defend Lisa, and then we flash to the next morning, where Lisa asks the monster to help her pick out an outfit, and he shoves her this beautiful black gothic dress. Of course, she objects to it because it's not really her style, and according to her, it's with Tiff's, and because she didn't like the compliments, she decided to give it to Lisa. But soon enough, when Lisa starts wearing it, she looks like it really works for her, and it starts showing off a lot of vibes, of course. And of course, later on, while she's at school, her mother gets a maggot in her food thanks to our dear old dead man, obviously. And then when she confronts her and tells her that she's going to try to pretty much have her committed to an insane asylum. But luckily enough, our dead man kills her and takes her ear, obviously, and asks Lisa to sew it onto his ear hole. Of course, she says,
"No, I can't. I can't do that. Not until we bury the body."
That's my favorite line. Oh man, it's so hilarious. The drama in this movie, I gotta admit, it's so funny. Anyway, so they bury the body, and then Lisa sews the ear onto the dead man, obviously. Of course, no reception. But then the monster comes up with the idea that to use lightning to make it work. So they use Taffy's tanning bed to make the ear work. And after a few screaming sessions that prove thanks to Lisa, it starts working. I love that bit.
Can you hear me? Can you? Yeah.
It's so funny. Anyway, soon enough, they become another person that might like to use for body parts. The lab boy that kind of felt up Lisa, obviously. So she sends a anonymous letter telling him to meet her, somewhere. And so she meets up with him in the graveyard, and both Lisa and the monster, they chop off his hand and attach it to the man's hand, obviously. And of course, they use electricity, and you start seeing that more they use the electricity, the more his features start becoming less dead. Anyway, he then demonstrates his new ability with his hand on the piano. As I said, he was a musician, and she is pleased with it and quite enchanted by the music stylings of him. And soon enough, they become more closer, obviously. But of course, she can't stand his crime because the smell is like, gross. Ugh. Of course, when they head back upstairs, and then of course I should mention that her stepmom's disappearance, that's no surprise because they know that she was going off to a conference somewhere, and that makes a good excuse for her absence, so no one suspects a thing, obviously. Anyway, so later on, Taft makes a plan to phone her mother and tell her about her, how things are going. Of course, they find out that she never was checked into the hotel. And this gives Taft and her family the impression that she was kidnapped or murdered, or both for that matter. And so Taft tells Lisa this, and she tells her that not to worry, that sure her mother will call her and let her know that everything is okay. Of course, not the case, obviously. Of course, Lisa knows deep down that she's gonna get caught eventually, because the police start questioning the school, and they start questioning her, including the goth girl, obviously, who actually was an eyewitness to seeing Lisa putting a note in the boys' locker, obviously. Anyway, she makes a plan. She tells her worries to the monster, and the monster tries to comfort her using a back massage and vice versa, other stuff. Lisa also confides to the monster that she hates the fact that the rest of the world, after her mother died, started to want to forget, her mother and forget her. And they keep telling Lisa to get over it, grow up, move on, whatever. Doesn't always work when you think about it. Usually pain takes time when it comes to loved ones passing. Anyway, Lisa tells him that she plans on doing it with Michael, so she doesn't want to die a virgin. So later on the next morning, she's wearing this beautiful gothic outfit that's actually a costume that Taft has, and Taft is all about share and share alike, blah blah blah. So anyway, they head to school. Taft is not up to it and says that she wants to head home, so Lisa is left to be questioned by the police, and the police also question the goth girl, and of course she tells her that she must have drugs, blah blah blah, and of course she in turn tells him about how she must have killed her mother. There was a rumor going around, blah blah. And anyway, Lisa heads off, obviously, and then we notice the monster is heading, he's driving around, and of course he picks up Lisa, and Lisa wants to be taken to Michael's house so she can seduce him. She found out that he was not in any of the cafes that she often heard he eats at, so she thinks he's at his house. So she heads down there. There she finds that Taft and Michael are in bed together, hinting that Taft has been all this time been having a relationship with Michael. Or anyway, soon enough the monster appears and it chops off Michael's part. Obviously I won't tell you what, but you do see it, in shadow or silhouette, obviously, in hinting what he did, and he heads off with that part. Then Lisa takes Taft into her car and tells her that she's always loved her sister, and that they will never that she'll never always think of her as a sister. And she gives her mother's rosary to her, which was mentioned, I should mention this at the beginning, that she gave to the monster, and then the monster gave it back to her when he came back. Anyway, so she then heads into the woods, hoping to kill the monster, but soon enough she couldn't do it. So she wants to finally have sex with him. Of course, since he is lacking one major organ, she suggests they can do other things, but then he presents her with Michael's parts to complete their plan. So she sews it on. Thank goodness we don't see anything. And then they do the electrocution at the tanning bed, and then they have a night of wedded bliss together, where he gives her a ring, a jelly ring, and they have a splendid night together, which is mostly an animation sequence, which is okay in my opinion. Then later on we see them at the tanning bed, and Lisa makes a plan of having herself killed off. because police are searching for her. I imagine the words got out that Lisa is a murderer, and they want her, arrested. So Lisa gets into the tanning bed, and she allows the monster to turn it up fully. So so the monster sits by, watches the entire thing, and the whole building, that part burns up, obviously. And then we see cars and neighbors' cars outside, and neighbors obviously outside watching the carnage, the horror. And then Lisa's dad arrives and watches the results. Then we see them much later, where Lisa's dad and Taff are outside near the grave, and Taff notices something on the gravestone, her sister's gravestone, and she doesn't tell her dad, obviously. And then the girl, they walk off to pay her respects to her dead mother, obviously. Then later on, we see the monster, fully, human, is reading on the park bench, reading, I think it's Percy Shelley, obviously, to Lisa, who is bandaged from head to toe, in a creepy way. And as he's reading, we get a close-up look of her face, and then the credits roll. Now, what do I think of this movie? Well, I like the movie. It's really good, and in fact, it has an 80s vibe where it has, which I often like. I like 80s. I like it when a certain movie out there does the 80s theme in a good ways, to make sure it fits the theme that of the 80s. And of course, when we do see later at the end of the movie, we do notice that the fully developed man or monster is now wearing some spandex with rainbow spandex, which sort of hint at Robin Williams spandex that he wore from the 80s, obviously. And I should mention that one of the people who created this movie is actually Robin Williams's daughter, who as a tribute to her, I guess, to her late father, that part. Anyway, I do like this movie a lot because I like the fact that the transformation that it took on Lisa and the monster. How Lisa goes from a very ordinary, depressed, mournful girl to a very confident, gothic, glam rock type girl, obviously. And the monster also has a bit of a transformation from being a dead zombie type monster to a fully formed, developed, man, obviously. And there was also a lot of maggots and worms and creepy crawlies on his body, but I think they soon disappear after a few electric shocks. I like how the electric shock kind of brings him a little bit more human here and there as we go. Anyway, so I really enjoyed this movie. So I'm going to give it 4 stars out of 5. That's my highest rate. And so that's about it for me, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Also, be sure to like and subscribe down to my channel, guys. And I'll see you guys for my next video. Okay, thanks very much, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. See you guys around.